this young population, we are ensuring and securing Zimbabwe's long-term development. And we really have to invest in the young people. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mazimambo, let's have this dialogue. And as National AIDS Council, we will reaffirm our commitment to supporting young people's health and well-being. We will continue to strengthen the coordination, expand youth-friendly services, support innovation, and ensure that young people's voices remain central to shaping the response. We stand ready to work with government, development partners, traditional leaders, civil society, and the young people themselves to build a healthier and more empowered generation. We want to extend our appreciation to UNFPA Zimbabwe for their all-weather support to young people on their health and well-being. Their consistent partnership, technical guidance, and belief in youth-led solutions have strengthened this network and enabled young people to lead boldly, innovate confidently, and contribute meaningfully to national priorities. With these remarks, ladies and gentlemen, Mazimambo, I officially welcome you all to this national high-level intergenerational deep dialogue. I wish you a productive, inspiring, and solution-driven meeting. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A round of applause. A round of applause for our Chief Executive Office. I think last year I said there are two chiefs. The traditional chief and the Chief Executive Office. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you very much, Chief Wedu, for the remarks. Now we are welcomed, so you can now have energy. You know, when you get into your household and you are not welcomed, you be so quiet and so shy. But now you are welcomed. So, ahoy, my young people, ahoy. Ahoy. Once you've been allowed to do that, ahoy, my young people, ahoy. Ahoy. Thank you very much, Chief. I would like to recognize the presence of Chief Tagamela, who was mentioned by Mrs. Round. He is now with us. Let's clap hands for Chief Tagamela. Thank you very much. At this point in time, allow me to welcome the one who is leading us as the young people. You know, whenever you are young people, you need someone who then coordinate you and lead you. The national facilitator for the Young People's Network on Health and Wellbeing to give remarks. Snaps for our national facilitator. Snaps for the national facilitator. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toby. If you allow me to write on established protocol. Makati Salibonani, good morning. So we gather here today as a collective, young people. We've got traditional leaders, faith leaders, we've got government and partners that are here. So we are brought together by a shared responsibility, the responsibility for the whole health, the well-being, the rights, and the future of the young people in Zimbabwe. So maybe as a background, yesterday young people met on their own. So we discussed about the issues that are going to be presented here. So on the realities that they face in the communities. Then we developed practical and grounded recommendations. So today these voices are coming into the space, not as an addition, but as a central part of this conversation. So this is what this Indaba presents. A meeting point between lived experiences, leadership, between community realities and decision making. So as a network, we are proud of the progress that has been made when young people are given a space to lead. So when we initiated the Not in My Village with support from UNFPA and National AIDS Council, we have seen the way the chiefs have responded to the campaign, and we are really proud of the work that has been done in the communities. So this Indaba comes at a time that shows the value of collective community-driven action in addressing the challenges that are facing adolescents and young people in Zimbabwe. So what stands before us today is not just dialogue, it is an opportunity for alignment. Alignment across generations, alignment across institutions, and alignment between what we know and what we do. So the issues that we are addressing, health, protection, access to services, and opportunity require us to meet together. No single sector can respond alone. It is through shared effort and mutual accountability that progress becomes possible. So let us see this moment not just to exchange ideas, but to strengthen our collective response to the realities that young people are facing. So we are proud of the support that you've gotten to have this Indaba here. With these few remarks, I thank you.
Siyabonga kakhulu tinotenda ngathi iomberere national facilitator. Thank you for amazwi akhuluma about ama young people. Vachitaura kuti sevechidiki tinopa kutenda. Ngatiomberere madzimambo moza when the program started we did not know anything, where to start, where to go. But they led us, they showed us the way to say how things should be done. And they've appreciated. You know, when you talk of teenage pregnancy, yesterday when we were discussing as young people, we saying if we have got a teenage pregnant and the child give birth, over anusia mwana kusango. Mwana wea onongwa, oendeswa ku orphanage, at children's home. At 18, ovanza wakura chibuda children's home. I don't know it of futichi, mwana futi, muzukuru ya chadzoka mu orphanage, mai vari muchi, vari streets. Those are some of the things that we know when we look at these adolescents and girls in terms of their sexual reproductive health, in terms of teenage pregnancy, in terms of child marriages. So this has been a discussion that we are having. So we want also to give this opportunity to UNFPA, who is represented by Ms. Steady, who is going to give the solidarity and also maybe introduce the team, because during the introductions she was not around. With that, just run through the team that you have. Let's get this for UNFPA.
Pamsoroi Madzishe, Arifano, Pamsoroi Chief Executive Officer for the National AIDS Council. Allow me to ride on the protocol that has already been established. But again, I want to say a special pamsoroi to the vibrant young people who are here today. In terms of the team that we have here, we have Eileen. Just wave from wherever you are. We have Exhibit. Just wave from wherever you are. I think some will come and go as the program progresses. I'm making these remarks on behalf of Ms. Miranda Tabifo, the UNFPA representative, whose cause this is. She's so passionate about the issue of adolescent pregnancies, and she will rejoin us after another engagement that she has been double booked. Allow me to just go through her remarks. It is a profound honor to stand before you today at this youth Indaba. We gather at a pivotal moment for the nation, a time when the potential of our youth is being met by challenges of an unprecedented scale. It gives me great pleasure to be part of this second edition of the Youth Indaba. The Youth Indaba is fast becoming a feature on our national calendar, and I would like to commend the organizers for creating this important platform. As the United Nations Population Fund, Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Agency, we lead efforts to expand possibilities for all young people and ensure that their potential is fulfilled. In this regard, the Youth Indaba is of great importance to us. We are gathered here with the shared commitment to focus on the future of our young people. The future, however, requires us to address challenges faced by young people in Zimbabwe. One such challenge that is greatly limiting the potential of young people is adolescent pregnancy. Adolescent pregnancy is no longer merely a health concern. It constitutes a significant developmental challenge. Its impact expands far beyond the individual, affecting our education system, undermining economic progress, and weakening the social fabric of our communities. The recent data from adolescent studies have been sobering. Yet, it has also served as a powerful catalyst, mobilizing a truly national response aimed at confronting and ultimately overcoming this challenge once and for all. The 2023 National Assessment of Adolescent Pregnancies provided the sobering evidence needed to move the nation forward. The teenage pregnancy rate in Zimbabwe surged from 22% in 2023, up from 9% in the previous years. National assessments now show prevalence rate of 23.7%, a figure mirrored by the ZDHS report. This means nearly 1 in 4 girls aged 15 to 19 has already begun childbearing. Between 2019 and 2022, over 358,000 adolescents fell pregnant, representing hundreds of thousands of individuals' stories of interrupted education. We acknowledge the prevalence gap, where a girl in rural area is twice as likely to become pregnant as her urban counterpart. This disparity driven by poverty and information gaps is exactly what our national response is designed to reach. The momentum generated from this data has led to the first ever national framework of adolescent pregnancy prevention and response. This is a definitive national coordinating mechanism we've been waiting for. It provides a structured, evidence-based roadmap for coordinated action across sectors. It formally links health, education, and social protection, ensuring our response is as multidimensional as the problem itself. The consequences of inaction are fatal. 1 in 4 maternal deaths, 25% in Zimbabwe, occurs among young women, aged under 24 years. Young bodies are often physically unready for childbirth, leading to complications like obstetric, fistula, and mental health impacts. The connection between pregnancy and education is devastating. In 2024 alone, 3,368 learners dropped out of secondary education, specifically due to pregnancy. When a girl leaves school, her lifelong economic potential shrinks, trapping her family in persistent cycle of intergenerational poverty. Our young people are navigating a perfect storm beyond pregnancy. They face rising substance abuse, HIV infection, mental health concerns, and gender-based violence. These challenges are intensified by harmful social norms and tightening global funding landscapes that threaten the sustainability of our gains. Moreover, emerging pressures such as climate change, pandemics, and recurrent disasters continue to disrupt access to education and safety structures. This impact is felt most acutely by our vulnerable youth with disabilities, street-connected youth, and those in humanitarian settings. The National Multi-Sectoral Framework on the Prevention and Management of Adolescent Pregnancy is being brought to life through the groundbreaking Not in My Village campaign. This initiative represents a paradigm shift in how Zimbabwe addresses developmental challenges by prioritizing community-led situations. At its core, the campaign is a product of co-creation between young people and traditional leaders that we have here present. From Mashonaland Central to Matabeleland South, we have witnessed a powerful transformation where entire communities are rallying behind the call to action. We commend the chiefs in 16 districts who, in partnership with young people, are currently designing and developing local bylaws specifically aimed at curbing teenage pregnancy and the rights of girls. This movement has turned villages, schools, and households into spaces where the normalization of early childbearing is actively challenged. UNFPA is currently scaling this integrated model across 5 provinces. This campaign again proves that when young people are given a seat at the table with our traditional custodians, we don't just find temporary fixes, we build lasting community-led safeguards. UNFPA stands in firm support of government efforts to end adolescent pregnancies. At the center of these solutions remains comprehensive sexuality education and access to integrated SRS services for young people. As we leave here today, we would like to see a scenario where everyone says, no child marriage, not in my village. No teenage pregnancy, not in my village. No school dropout, not in my village. I thank you all.
A round of applause for saying, not in my village, not in my school, not in my community, not in my family, not in my household. Yesterday we were discussing with the members of parliament. They say we want to put billboards saying not in my constituency, so that they can see we are not tolerating teenage pregnancy, child marriages, drug and substance abuse in our village. A round of applause for our members of parliament. So, city hachicha esigabeni sethu amakhosi ayala kwethe mdudu redu wadithi. When we were doing our tours, we went to March Central. My chief was at we are Bambone Gomo Bati Kwete Muduno Rediti. We saw Mambochina Mora, Udongo Shawa, their billboards, and they are mentioning these things. And you realize that my chief came up even with guidelines to say how should we stay in terms of our culture, our norms. Tufanokara say, not what we have girls and boys, they are sleeping in one bedroom. Or girls and boys, they are sleeping in one bedroom with their father. We should also look into decent accommodation. And in terms of not in my village, there are also issues around making sure that we keep girls in schools and boys in schools. In making sure that Karavagara Mchikoro, Tarazona Injimbo is safe, Munano Kura, Patagazokera Kumba, Nopano Zongo Sangana na Sekuru John, Vaenda Vanoro, Aniti. Sithi umntwana akahlale esikolo akhule afunde aqeqeshe angithi ngajabula kakhulu isizwe. Teachers were saying we had school dropouts, they were very high. Esingwangwa high. They were saying our school dropouts, they were very high. But during not in my village program, we have seen ama dropouts that they are increasing every day. Was now they was talking of 9 coming from 81 in a team. They were now sitting at 9, which was an achievement. I think we really need to give a round of applause for that. We have done documentation, went to Mass Central, Mass South. We are coming to other provinces. We see the progress, but the progress can be seen from my TV. We have seen our chiefs articulating about these issues. We have seen chiefs, Vachinyora, Kundema newspaper articles, where chiefs are saying, not in our village. And I think it's our hope. One day the president will say, not in my country. One day our president will say, not in my country. When the minister will come and present 42,000 school dropouts, and part of the school dropouts, you are told teenage pregnancy is another cause. You are told child marriage is another cause. Why in Zimbabwe? Because we want to make sure that our children, they grow, they reach their full potential. Young people have got potential, isn't it, young people? Yes. We have potential, we have dreams, but this dream is cut short because of teenage pregnancy. And you know, teenage pregnancy doesn't come alone. It is a triplet. You are having teenage pregnancy, STIs, you are having HIV. But we are moving towards AIDS as a public health threat. If we don't address these issues, we then have a challenge. Let's give a round of applause again to United Nations Population Fund for supporting with National AIDS Council in making sure that there are resources that are there for young people to come up with these issues. At this point in time, we are going to have a short energizer from Kaya Arts. But before we get an energizer, allow me to introduce my co-MC. I think you saw our names. Dumisani Ngwenya is the one speaking but we haven't seen Tabokan Leia. Tabokan Leia.
Good morning, everyone. Salibonani. Mabuyani. All right, thank you very much for coming today. My name is Tabokan Leia. I'll also be part of the Master of Ceremonies today. Wakates, we want to welcome Ikaya Arts. They'll give us a performance and just entertain us a bit. It's a little bit cold outside, so we'll warm our blood a bit, right? You can turn to your neighbor and just greet them, give them a high five. Jellywood, you look nice today. Please be honest to them. Turn to the second one behind you, and to the third one. Find the face that you want to know. If you don't have anything to say, just say no to child marriages. You know? Alright, let's give them a round of applause as they come.
People of Sikoto village, today we are gathered here because of three issues that have become a major our village.
Yes, Mkab. Food, water, and money.
No.
Yes.
No. I'm talking about teenage pregnancy, child marriage, and drug abuse.
Is that actually happening in my village?
Unfortunately, yes. That is why we are gathered here today. Mtala, please give us the statistics of what has been happening. Wena wezulu. 60% of psychiatric admission in Isigoto village are due to drug and substance abuse. 80% of those admitted are aged 16 to 25 years, including school children, junior. 50% of new admissions at Ingwiten Mental Hospital in Isigoto village in early 2024 were drug abusers.
On top of that, in time, 9% of female adolescents aged between 10 to 19 years got pregnant as per study. Between 2019 and 2022, 21% adolescents got pregnant and about 458,552 from 1,560 health facilities. Yeah,
My people of Great Sikoto village, this is heartbreaking. Mamanyara now. Mkabi, what are the causes? Here in Imbani, I want to get to the bottom of the matter.
I would like to ask Mshachana to tell us more about the causes. Mshachana.
There are many causes in Shoni, but here are the major ones we have observed so far. Lack of comprehensive sexual education, poverty and economic barriers, cultural and peer norms, school dropouts and low education levels, media and technology.
Today onwards, we will impose stiffer penalties to families that promote child marriages. Business people who sell drugs and alcohol to teenagers. Furthermore, we will ask YPM to educate our teenagers about ethics. We will ask UNFPA to help us open IGPs for our youth and teenagers. We will promote art and culture as a business for teenagers with talent. The future of this village is in the hands of these teenagers. Because this is what happened in my village.
Thank you for giving us hope. So we will call it Not in My Village campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, let us celebrate.
ngabe awethuki yini chiyana lezidakamizwa
izidakamizwa ziyabulala ziyingozi zidala ingabani zidala ingozi emigwaqweni ziphambanisa imfundo zibulala inkokheli zakusasa
Zigade, ziqhenye, zihloniphe. Ungathathi izidakamizwa. Yala izidakamizwa. Chiyana lezidakamizwa. Chiyana lento echiya umzimba ucikizekile. Refuse, report, reject drugs. Drugs can kill. Drugs can cause serious family problems. Yeah, lalela la. Ungawathatha ayakungena, engakungena ayakujuka, engakujuka uyakujuka.
Not in our constituents, let's take this for that one. Not in my ward, not in my church, everywhere we are saying no, we don't want drugs, we don't want child marriages. At least was really can, and it Yopesraya and as one out years of wait and Devegatica Sara. Why my drugs are no pizza, simba, no pera, what you do with deals with my drugs is and it. Saka, can I tell you not in my village? Tutaura, where there is a teenage pregnancy, child marriages, Topatiza, news with my drugs. They put it as Jim was about one Betty Dicky, Vakatora, my drugs, Vanova, Kanganwa, Boba, one covers Tapura, Bano Sakandra, Pabu, Devasna Zilira, Paspes here, they could have wear my drugs. If the president will Nika, Vakato Tower, Vakatopa, a plan. A strategic plan, a multi-stakeholder strategic plan, in no town runs with my drugs. They put my drugs in a national crisis, and it. To go in it's a national crisis. Who is selling these drugs? Hello? But no one takes side. The other will take my drugs side. Influential people, how then do we do it? Mambo stiffer penalties. When we went to Shanyira Matzmabwe, went to a store. There is everything. Liquor Supplies Act, the ship is open or take a license. Munanova ane shop yakaita sei kuti atengese but izvezvi tikaenda kumamisha pari kutengeswa cooking oil ka 2 keys kari paside handiti pari kutengeswa sugar kanjengu kari paside toona tika ready barate handiti ndama mazita enjengu mayambi kambwa akarebwa taura tungwa twazara mumashops. But my shop said they meant to put my things to why. Some honorable members who want out to need up with Rupana. Monzoma percentage and guys tell us go to community. Ticas on Yaso Tari Sisters, Mabu Demographic Youth Survey, you don't write the issues. 23% Eva Nasikana, but past pay 19 years. Makashitaku. 23%, that is Zoe Pratzgado. In the Bulawa, when we had our advocacy meeting, they told us in 2024 only, we had 2,300. And the Bulawa is the least, Tikatarsa, people who agree with the DHS, and it. So I think these are the lives of young people, and it. This is our crisis. Lord Abuzikoratina, Tawia Mazmambo, Tawia, who are Miridu, who are a Guru Paramente, Lord Abuzikorichi. Ground. So at this moment in time, let me hand over to Taboka to take you through to the next session. Let's clap hands for Taboka.
I think we are all here for one cause, and thank you very much. Are we all Christians here? If you're a Christian. Kule vese Bible where 2 or 3 are gathered, I'll be in the midst. But lapha kula 3, it's 4 or 5. I think we are more than 50 in here. So it's a good thing that we are all gathered today. Katesi, we want to go on to our next segment. This one will be led by Unati Nyoni. She's the Deputy Secretary for Young People's Network. We want to step into our panel discussion. Unati. Oh, he. I apologize.
I forgive you. Courtesy of having a unisex name. Good morning. Right, as mentioned, my name is Unati Nyoni, and I'll be taking you through this very important panel discussion. So allow me first to invite my panelists before I give you an outline of what exactly it's about. Right, so we will have a representative from us, the young people. That will be Rumbizai Mashawiro. Could you please kindly join us? Right. I'd also love to invite our chief representative from our chiefs, Mambo Chinamora. Could you please join us? Respectfully. Right. Followed by our representative from the faith-based organizations, our representative from our FBOs. They have not arrived. It's okay. We also have our representatives from our legislators, our members of parliament. That will be Honorable Decent Bachila. Allow me also to invite a representative from the Ministry of Health and Childcare to also join the panel. That should have been our PMD. All right, they're also not here yet. It's okay. We'll also have our representative from UNFPA Zimbabwe. Yeah. And also a representative from the National AIDS Council. That is Mrs. Nyati from Bulawayo. Thank you so much. I think our panel is well constituted. So this panel brings together young people, traditional leaders, policymakers, faith actors, and government representatives in a deliberate intergenerational dialogue. So the theme of this session is from challenges to change, an intergenerational dialogue on adolescent health and well-being. So our purpose is to convene an intergenerational, multi-stakeholder dialogue that interrogates the state of adolescent and youth well-being, elevates scalable best practices, and co-designs community-based solutions. So this is not just a discussion, it is a platform for accountability, for practical solutions and clear commitments. And that is what we're expecting from this session. We will explore the barriers young people face, highlight what is working, and most importantly, identify what must be changed for us to move forward. So our format, I think it's very important to dive straight into it for the sake of time, and I'll begin where it matters the most, the lived realities of young people And Rumbizai, this question is directed to you. So from your lived experience and that of your peers, what are the biggest barriers young people still face in accessing SRA, HR and protection services, especially in underserved communities?
Thank you so much, Unati, for the question. Good morning, everyone. So maybe I'll begin by saying that we have seen efforts that have been put in place for young people to access services. And I would love to believe that these services are being rolled out into communities, into different local facilities. But however, I think some of the biggest barriers is that these services, they conflict with our realities, which are the lived experiences of us as young people. To begin with, the biggest barrier, it would be societal stigma and cultural judgment. So you would notice that SRHR is still a taboo in most homes. It's not a comfortable conversation that you can have, be it with a guardian or be it with a teacher. So you'd find that that affects your capability of being able to access a service, talk about accessing condoms, PrEP, and PEP. And this then leads to delayed care. And you'd notice that for most young people, being sexually active, there's a label towards it. It's either you're labeled as someone who is promiscuous or someone who is not pure. Not saying that we should agree or we should support young people having sex, but the reality is that we have young people having sex, and there is still a challenge of the societal stigma and the cultural judgment that we have. And another barrier is the economic and geographical barrier. Looking at mostly young people coming from rural areas, you would notice that they would have to walk quite a distance to access a service as compared to young people that are in urban areas. And you notice that young people in urban areas are more privileged, as we have outreach services that are being conducted maybe on a monthly basis or even more. But that is not the case for young people that are in rural areas, which puts them at a high risk of exposure. So you will notice that according to the studies that we have, you have 1 in 4 girls that is pregnant, and it is higher for those young people that are in the rural areas. So that is one of the biggest barrier. And also, as I mentioned, that we can't look at it equally, those that are in rural areas and those that are in urban areas. Looking at rural inequality, there's the issue on knowledge gaps as well. Like I mentioned earlier on, as young people in urban areas, we have a lot of opportunities, a lot of forums where we have to learn about this, but that is not the case for young people that are in rural areas. And then also, there are service gaps. Despite the availability being there, you would notice that we have government facilities and private sectors partnering in offering services, but then sometimes we notice that there's an unmet need for young people. The services are there, but then you would notice that other young people are not able to access them due to different barriers. So one of the other barriers, it could be culturally, it cannot be right for me to be seen at the facility accessing PrEP. And also, it might not be working for other people, so then that becomes a challenge.
Allow me to interject
Yes.
there. So building on those barriers, which youth-led innovations are making a real difference in our communities, and what do we need to scale these up?
All right, thank you so much for that, Unati. So I think one of the things that are working in our communities are the peer models. So maybe just to mention a few, we have the CATS programs, but although this is not being rolled out nationwide, we have some districts having the CATS programs, which promote treatment adherence and service uptake amongst young people. We have the sister-to-sister models, brother-to-brother models, and peer educators at youth centers and at health facilities. So I believe these are peer-led models that are helping the service uptake and the health outcomes of young people. We also have community-based youth initiatives, whereby we have young people educating their peers in schools, at youth centers, on the different issues that are affecting young people, for them to be able to make informed decisions. Also, we noticed that there are also digital initiatives that are there. For example, there is the Chumi app that is
that offers SRHR information to young people in the comfort of their home. So this is targeted for those young people that might not be able to visit the facility, but have access to digital space. They can then get information from applications like those. And then also, I believe these have been working because they promote to better health outcomes, they promote service uptake, and they are trusted. It brings a face to the health services. I believe as young people, it's easier for me to go to another young person and talk about whatever issue that is bothering me and how best to go about it.
Thank you so much, Rubizai, for giving us the realities of young people, what's happening on the ground. I think I just want to jump, for the sake of this intergenerational format, to our chief. Chief, we have seen the Not in My Village campaign. From your perspective, what progress have you observed, and specifically what practices have been revived in the community to help us reduce child marriage and teenage pregnancy? Just a brief note before you answer, Chief. All our panelists are allowed to answer in whichever language they feel comfortable with. Yes, Chief.
Zvakanaka. Makadii vana baba, vana mai, nevana. Tinofara neuyu mukana wekuti tinge tichikurukura kuonesana denda ranetsa mukati memhuri dzedu, denda ratiranetsa mukati menyika yedu. Nhau yedu tichipinda nayo mudunhu, chekutanga chatakaita kutsvaga nzira dzokuwirirana nemhuri, kuti chokwadi matambudziko ari pakati pedu ndeapi. Iya yatingati muchirungu validation campaign, yekuti ti-identify ma-problems aripo, towirirana kuti zvechokwadi zviri kuitika mumusha medu izvi. Chechipiri, takatanga kuongorora kuti zviri kumbokonzerwa nei, iye yatingati root cause analysis. Pa-root cause analysis taitarisa kumativi ose zviri kuitika kudivi iroro, zviri kukonzeresa, uye nzira dzokuti tingaitei kuti tizvipedze. Chechitatu, takazova nema-efforts atakaita ekukurukura kuti toitei kuti timise matambudziko aya zvachose. Regai ndidzokere pekutanga pavalidation. Takave nemisangano yaitenderera mumusha mamamboshina mhora, tichikurukura from village level, ward level, mumaschools, mumachurches, nepose pari kuungana mhuri. Ungave musangano wechechi ipi neipi zvayo, mambo vaisvikapo. Ingavo ungano yevana vechikoro vachipiwa mubayiro, mambo vaisvikapo. Tichiwana mukana wokukurukura nevana, kukurukurana nababa, kukurukurana namai, kuti tiwirirane kuti dambudziko riri mumusha nderipi. Matambudziko atakawana ndeanotevera. Iko kuroorwa kwevana vari pasi pemakore 17. Iko kumitiswa kwevana vari pasi pe17. Kutorwa kwezvinodhaka. Mudunhu mangu rakazemberana neguta reHarare. Takaona zvakare dambudziko guru rekutengeswa kwestate land, aya ari kunzi masubsidy deals, anova mamwe atakaona as madrivers ematambudziko iwaya atiri kuzowana through overpopulation. Takaona zvakare matambudziko emashabhini, zvambotaurwa pano, kuti hatichazeza kuti musika uri kutengesa muriwo wakuwanikwa uchitotengesa doro ipapo. Mumisha doro rako ngowanikwa richitengeswa pese pese sekunge tiri kutengesa chinodyiwa. Takaona zvakare dambudziko redzimba dzavemo muruzevha dziri kushandiswa kutengeserwa bonde, sekuti vana vari kungoona vana baba nanamai vechikuru vachipinda ipapo vachiita zvavari kuita, zvatinotarisira mutsika dzedu kuti zvinhu zvakaremekedzeka, zvinofanira kuitirwa panzvimbo dzakavandika uye dzakakodzera kuita izvozvo, asi takuona zvichingoitirwa pese pese mukati memusha chaimo pwere dzichiona. Takaona zvakare kuti tine dambudziko rekushayiwa riri kukonzeresa mhirizhonga mukati medzimba, kuti baba vanoshayiwa chekuita, baba vanoshayiwa kuti ndoitei chinokwanira kuti mhuri yangu idye mumba, uko mhuri yakatarisira kuti baba vachauya vakabata, mhedzezvo zvokonzeresa mhirizhonga mumba. Mukuongorora kuti zvinhu izvi zviri kumbouya sei, zviri kukonzereswa nei, takaona matambudziko iwawa anosanganisira kusabhadharwa kwemari dzezvikoro. Rinova dambudziko randakatakura ndikamhanya naro kuna Minister of Education. Zvaita zvakanaka, tine vamiririri vemudare reparamende pano. Takaona kuti ikoko kune dambudziko guru ririko ratakaona sekuti mapolicies avepo ave kupromota private education more than ma-council schools edu anova akachipira veruzhinji. Pakaiswa mutemo nehurumende wekuti chikoro hachitenderwe kuramba mwana wechikoro. Mabhazi edu anova zvikoro azarisa zvisingabviri, asi akazara kudaro mari dzezvikoro hadzisi kubviswa. Dzarega kubviswa, mwana haachaita shungu nechikoro, uku headmaster havatenderwi kudzinga mwana wechikoro. Vanongomanikidzwa kuti tambirai chete. Toenda kuchikoro kwacho, infrastructure hapana, stationary chaiyo yekuti vana vawane pekugara hapana. In this day and age, munopinda muclass matesvika tichiona vana vakagara pafloor vakawaridzirwa Zambia. Zvino tine education 5.0 heritage based education iriko, but muzvikoro macho tikatarisa zvinokwanisiro zvokuti vana vadzidziswe hamuna. Policy iyoyo our honorable MPs vari pano takaona sekuti it's a huge driver kune vanasikana kuvadzinga muzvikoro kuti vaende vanofamba mukati menzira panguva yekuti vange vachidzidza. Kunze kwavari kubuda vachienda vari kunosangana nemakava ikoko, vari kunosangana nemhumi ikoko, pedzesero takunzwa dzave nhumbu. Dai waro makurukura mudare reparamende kuti mutemo iwoyu unorambidza kuti vana vasadzingwe, hongo wakatinakira chose, asi ngapaveiwo neshamhu inopiwa mubereki anenge asina kubhadhara mari yechikoro yacho, kuitira kuti mwana apiwe kodzero dzake dzakakwana. Hongu zvakanaka kuti mwana apiwe kodzero, asi pari zvino kodzero idzi dziri kupiwa kumwana asi kumubereki. Mubereki akaremerwa, mubereki haana shamhu yaari kupiwa inoita kuti atore responsibility yake. Takaona zvakare kuti magariro ari mumusha mamwe acho ari kukonzeresa matambudziko. Vana vanenge vakura pamusha 12 years ari kuwanikwa achirara mumba mumwe chete nevakomana vane makore ma18, 19, 20, 21. Tiri kuona zvakare matambudziko ehama dziri kuchengetwa pamusha, ekuti vanouya sekuru voya kuzogara nesu, isu tine vana vane makore ma12 years, 13 years, 14 years, kutotangira pa9 years chaipo. Zvinosuwisa. Ukama ihwohwo huri kukonzeresa kuti vana vazopedzisira vawira mumatambudziko ekuti vana vanotorwa vachiendeswa pabonde. Kana vapiwa pamuviri, vakuru vaye vanowanikwa vachitsakatika vachienda. Takaona zvakare dambudziko rekuti isusu vabereki hatisisiri kutora responsibility yedu nemazvo. Hatisisina hanya nekuziva kuti mwana aswerepi, mwana ari kutamba nani, mwana adyei, mwana hembe yaakapfeka iyi aiwanepi. Hatisisina hanya nazvo. Semubereki takuwanikwa tichiomberera zvatiri kuigirwa nevana, tisinganzwisisi kuti kwazvabva uku kwakanaka here kana kuti kuchatipa matambudziko. Izvozvo zviri kutuma vana zvakare kuti vave neshamwari aye atinoti mablessers. Atakanzwa nezvavo zvakare, ari kuenda achinotsveterana nevana achivapa tumari tudiki diki vana vokwezva vopedzisira vakupinda munhau dzekuenda pabonde. Mamwe mablesa acho tikataura nezvavo munotondiseka kuti unoona blesa anenge achiuya achipa vana ma$20, vana vachitengerwa mazepi, vana vachitengerwa airtime iyoyo iri kutengerwa mwanasikana iri kuita kuti mwana apedzisire ave nepamuviri. Tiri kuwana zvakare matambudziko ari kubva kwatiri isusu vakuru vari mumusha. Hatisi kupa vana dzidziso yakakwana yezvavanofanira kuziva pazera ravo. Semienzaniso, mutsika dzedu isu tinoti mwana kuti anzi akura anofanira kunga amera mazino ose mukanwa. Hazvichida ndingabvunzewo veutano vari muno kuti mwana paanomera mazino ose anenge ave nemakore mangani. Seve Minister of Health vari pano vatibatsire.
Tinokutendai Mambo. Thank you so much for those contributions. I'd love to skip over to our members of parliament, Honorable Bajila. The youth are looking for legislative action, and what progress has Parliament made in strengthening protections and oversight for adolescents, and how are you working to enhance health financing to ensure these programs are sustainable?
Thank you so much, Unati, and good morning. The question around legislative measures, let me start by saying the Parliament and the state in general is interested in having a higher representation and participation of young people on matters that pertain to them. You will know that the previous constitutional amendment number 2 introduced the youth quota, which was basically about increasing the number of young people in Parliament, and this time around with 10 new seats created for young people, but also within the women's quota, also ensuring that when the women's quota is constituted, some of the women's quota members of Parliament are young women. We have attained that, and also Parliament has made sure that there is quite a number of spaces using which the views of young people can find expression. These include the Youth Portfolio Committee, chaired by a member of Parliament in his 20s, who is chairing that Youth Portfolio Committee. You also have the Youth Caucus, which also has a broader participation of young people and other members of Parliament with interest in youth issues. But also the Youth Caucus itself has created further spaces to engage with young people and hear their issues. We have the Model Youth Parliament, where young people from across the country come to Parliament and have a feel and an experience of what happens in a Parliament. And we are expecting that May, June, thereabout, we have a session of the Model Youth Parliament. Furthermore, and with greater interest in these conversations, we now have an annual pre-budget seminar for young people, where young people come to Parliament and speak to other young people who are members of Parliament around the issues that they are interested in and they would like to see them in the national budget. So these are some of the spaces that Parliament has created so that the voices of young people can be central to the distribution of the country's resources and the formation of laws in general. You will also be aware that we are currently at the final stages of the Medical Services Amendment Bill, which is going to be the Medical Services Amendment Act. And some of the things that are included in the Medical Services Amendment Bill include expanding spaces for access to SRHR issues amongst young people. And the views of young people were sought. The views of young people have been included in that amendment, because we appreciate that our health needs to be centered on the interests and the aspirations of young people. Mainly because if we deal with the health of young people at primary health level and moving forward, we will have less diseases to cure, we will have a healthy workforce, and therefore we are going to be a more progressive nation. However, there is still quite a number of gaps that exist, and these gaps relate to translating legislative intent into lived experiences of young people. Because some of the things are there, they exist as laws. For example, Chief has spoken quite eloquently on issues of child marriages. It's unlawful. So these laws are there, they are set, but for them to be lived experiences of people on the ground, more than just law formation needs to be done. And these are some of the gaps that are still there, but also in our health services themselves. Recently, as a committee, we did a tour of health infrastructure, rural health services across the country. Some of the things that we were inspecting are youth-friendly corners at our rural clinics. In some, they are there and fully functional. In some, they are there but not fully functional. In some, they are not there completely. So that also is one thing where Parliament still sees a gap where we can still push through the legislative processes. And these things need to be there because young people are needed. The other gap is still low participation of young people themselves. I've given this example when I had a conversation with them previously. I'll repeat it here. When we were doing Medical Services Amendment Bill, one of the venues we chose as Parliament to hold the meeting was Lupane State University. Inside a university, young people were not there to contribute. And then if we are told, if you talk to them and they say the spaces are not friendly, the spaces are not conducive, but if young people are a minority of participants in their own home turf in a university, it's a cause for concern. Because we didn't do it in town, we didn't do it in a church, we didn't do it at the chief's court, where the dominant populations there are not young people. In a university, the dominant populations are young people, and we expect them to be there, we expect them to express themselves in their large numbers. That remains a gap, but with time, with platforms like these ones, it looks like the gap is going to be closed, and we are going to have better participation and collection of views of young people. Thank you so much, Nadia.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dissent Bajila. I would like to rush quickly to our partners, starting with National AIDS Council. So, domestic financing is the buzzword, Mrs. Nyati, of the year. How is National AIDS Council strengthening domestic resource mobilization to ensure service continuity despite funding constraints?
Thank you for that question. I would like to say our greatest local resource is you and me. As we are seated here, we are the greatest resource for the response. Our young people, our communities. I want to say Indaba on this campaign. So NAC is going to continue investing in empowering young people, communities, to stop the further spread of HIV, child marriages, teen pregnancies, GBV, bullying, drug and substance use in our village. So we are actually saying, not in my village, not in my province, not in my constituents, not in my school, not in my church, and not in my ward, and not in my household. This is a multi-sectoral response to the campaign. You know that NAC has got the multi-sectoral mandate, and they are using that to the advantage of the campaign. We are also going to strengthen the public-private partnership collaborations so that we tap from them for local resources. We are also going to work with organizations that are working within and out of school and tertiary institutions to support adolescents and young people sexual reproductive health and rights. NAC is also going to mobilize resources through business communities and faith-based organizations. We realize that churches house a lot of young people from their Sunday schools, from the youth ministries, and I'm sure churches are more than ready to support their young people in the schools.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Mrs. Nyati. Yes, if we are listening, especially young people, we already have commitments from the National AIDS Council. Now our job is to follow up with those. I'll jump to UNFPA.
I just want to start by saying that UNFPA is the lead agency, reproductive health agency, that has at the center of its mandate the youth empowerment, because our tagline clearly states that ensuring rights for all, ensuring all young people reach their full potential. So it's important to us as UNFPA to ensure that all young people in the country reach their full potential. And they can only reach their full potential if they're healthy, thriving, and also fully empowered to reach their goals. In terms of the key progress that has been made, I think I would like to focus specifically around some of the work that we've been doing around the elimination of adolescent pregnancy as it relates to this gathering today. One of the key milestones that has been achieved in the country is the development of the multi-sectoral framework for adolescence prevention, pregnancy prevention and response. This really provides us a framework for us as different actors, the ministries, the UN agencies, the CBOs, FBOs, youth, the chiefs, to respond to this multi-sectoral challenge of adolescent pregnancies. I think one of the observations made prior to the development of this framework is that the response to this developmental challenge has been fragmented, and we needed a framework that brought everybody together to really respond to this multidimensional challenge. So it's really an important and progressive step made in the country in the last year, and we as UNFPA, we are seeking to continue to support the implementation. As a country, I think we've been really consistent, and we are really good at developing some of these frameworks. When it comes to implementation, there are challenges. So in terms of our support, we commit to supporting the implementation of this important framework. And as it is also reflected in our commitment to the work on adolescents and youth, our Next Country program really puts young people in the center of our response across all our thematic areas. That includes GBV, that also includes maternal health and the young people themselves. I think in short, that is what I would like to highlight in terms of an important step that has been made, an important development that has happened in the country in terms of the context of adolescent pregnancies.
Thank you so much for those contributions. Young people, more commitments to support your innovative ideas. Thank you so much, UNFPA and National AIDS Council. So we've heard about the barriers, the legislative progress, and the commitments from National AIDS Council and UNFPA. So as we close, I want to ask each of the panelists to just leave us with one takeaway. How do we ensure that by the next ZITF, these solutions, these commitments are no longer just innovations, but are a national reality? Maybe just 30 seconds for parting words. I'll start with Rumbizai. I'll skip our chief, go to Honorable Bajila, have UNFPA, National AIDS Council there. We'll close with our chief, Chinamon. Rumbi, parting words.
Thank you for the question, Onati. I think my parting words would be that as abantu abatsha, sebantu bechidiki in this room, we should continue with the conversation besides this room. We should not let the conversation end when we leave this room. We have young people that are part of health center committees. let's continue pushing for the change that we want to see. Wherever we are, we should be accountable. And I was touched by what Honorable stated, that we are not present in rooms where we are supposed to be. So my parting words with other young people that are present is that Tasirwa Chimuti, Katichi Tore, let's be accountable wherever we are. Let's attend things that are being put for us and partake in the change that we want to see.
Thank you so much, Unati. I think from the position of members of parliament, I could just put two things forward that I think can work. We will work towards a Not in My Constituency campaign, where as individual members of parliament that are here, we will push that these issues must not be present in our constituencies, and it's something that we will take on from here. But also from the constituencies that we come from and nationally, we will also ensure that we get our young people in the spaces that we have influence, in the spaces that we sit in, to be part of the 2027 national budget consultation, so that their views are heard and their concerns are part of the share of the 2027 national cake. I thank you.
Nature of the work with the young people and the chiefs. So we continue to encourage co-creation with the youth at the center of providing solutions to the challenges they face. Youth at the center of all the initiatives and the developments that we have in our communities. We will continue to see transformation in our communities. So this is what I continue to encourage, the co-creation with the young people, and the young people at the center of addressing the challenges they face every day.
Thank you. As National AIDS Council, we are continuing to use the multi-sectoral response as a mandate that we have to implement young people programs by precision. If you realize that our NASP 5 is actually emphasizing on precision, and this is what we are going to anchor as far as young people's programs is concerned, using the multi-sectoral response. Like I said earlier on, Indaba in this program. Thank you.
Last and most importantly, you heard from our Chief Chinamon. Ma'am.
Thank you. Senzira yekurwisana nedambudziko irori Not in My Village, tikuedza kuti vana vazive zera ravanotarisirwa tsika dzedu kuti vange vachikurukura nhau dzine chekuita nesexual health. Tinotarisira kuti mwana anobuda mazino ekupedzisira ave nemakore 18 kusvikira pamakore 24. Saka tikuti mwana kana usati wapera kubuda mazino mukanwa, nhau dzebonde hadzisi dzako uchiri mwana. Tiri kukurudzira zvakare kuti nhau yeNot in My Village itangire pana baba, amai nevana vavo mumba. Baba va-identify zvinhu zvavanoti kwete mumba mangu. Amai vataure izwi rekuti kwete mumba mangu kuvana vavo, vachivazivisa kuti pandiri kuti kwete ndiri kurevei, vachibva vazvitsanangura uye kuti vana vange vachinzwisisa. Tichiedza kushandisa iye yatingati indigenous knowledge system, tikuedza kukurudzira kuti tive nema-strong communities anoumbwa achitangira mumba. Kana tataura shoko rekuti kwete mumba mangu richirehwa nababa, amai nevana vavo, tikuvakurudzira kuti vave nebasa ravanoita pamusha, iye yatingati employing everyone, ari paari ipapo, vachitsvaga mabhindauko anovararamisa kuti nhau yekushayiwa tinge tichiirapa, inova ndiyo iri kukonzeresa mamwe matambudziko atiri kusangana nawo. Shoko rapararira mumatunhu, shoko rapararira kumhuri, tiri kuvimba chose kuti tikaramba takamira, tikaramba tichikurukura, shoko richanzwikwa, mwana wose ari mudunhu agoimba nekutaura izwi rekuti kwete mumusha mangu, not in my village.
Wow, we have heard it. Isindebele sithi abalendlebe bazwile. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our panelists for let's give them a round of applause for this wonderful panel discussion. And I'd just like to mention as parting words that the true impact of this program or this discussion will not be what we have said here today, but what happens afterwards. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you all for being here as participants, for also listening and giving us your time. And till we meet again, probably ZITF 2026. From me, your moderator, Unati Nyoni, thank you so much. And a lovely crowd.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Unati. I think I guess a lady Zanga. Thank you so much to our lovely panelists. You may take your seats. Let's also keep this going. Alright, we want to move on to our next segment. We want to introduce our guest of honor today. But to introduce the guest of honor, we are going to ask G. Ground, the Deputy Director, Ministry of Local Government Traditional Leader Department, to come through and introduce our guest of honor, the President of the Chiefs Council, Charlie Kumar. Let's clap hands until she comes to the podium.
I'm Mrs. Gloria Round, not Ground. Okay, thank you so much. My duty is not very big. My duty is to introduce to you our guest of honor. Remember, Ngenga hanging previously. So our guest of honor is somebody who has experience. He's actually the chief of Bubi district, and he has been a chief for 50 years. He has been in this office for 50 years. Since 2005, up to date, he has been in Senate. He's still in office. Here we're talking about great experience in the office. He was a deputy president of the Chiefs Council for 10 good years. I've been privileged. All my life I've worked in his province, and I've worked closely with him. For the few years that I've worked with him, I've learned a lot. I'm talking about the president of the Chiefs Council since August 2023. We are now in 2026. So he's been the president of the Chiefs Council, the national president of the Chiefs Council. So allow me to introduce to you Chief Mchane. Chief Mchane is alizela baba ikhulume labantwana baba khumalo sangamani uma ngangezwe baba lazonyama.
She didn't respond to me. And I didn't realize that the guest of honor was right at the end. for the programs. Normally the guest of honor is somewhere in the middle. But in this case, the guest of honor was put right at the end. Nginanzelele futhi nokuthi khuluma ngesindebele so kuyafuneka interpretation. So please allow me to address you in English. Thank you so much. May I start by recognizing Honorable Bajila, who is the chairperson of the Health and Child Welfare Committee, together with the honorable members of Parliament. And allow me also to recognize the chiefs who are here, starting with Senator Chief Chirea, who I believe is the only senator today here present, and other members of the chiefs who are in our council, and all other members of our fraternity. The Minister of Health and Child Welfare, NARC board members who are here, Dr. B. Mazima, the Chief Executive Officer of NARC, government line ministries who are here, UNFPA country representatives, I don't know if I pronounce his name properly, Marinda Davifora. Is that correct? Thank you. Other UN agencies here present, development partners who have been mentioned before us, other traditional and faith-based leaders, national facilitator of the Young People's Network on Health and Well-being, representatives of youth networks, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. My eyesight is as old as I am, unfortunately. For many years before the Not in My Village campaign, traditional leaders were not fully recognized as key partners in promoting the health and well-being of adolescents and young people. When issues like child marriages, teenage pregnancies, or substance abuse were discussed, culture was often blamed, and chiefs were seen as custodians of harmful norms. Yet we have always known that true culture protects. It is distortion of culture, not culture itself, that harms our children and our young people. The Not in My Village campaign changed this narrative. It helped communities discover the positive cultural practices that have always safeguarded our young people. We saw renewed appreciation of Nanga and Bota, which for years have become mostly ceremonial, now restored as really spaces for mentorship, discipline, and guidance. Communities embrace the idea that every child belongs to the whole village, and that our cultural values, when upheld within integrity, are a shield for our youth. The Not in Our Village campaign is not just a community initiative. It is a direct contribution to our national aspirations under the National Development Strategy 2 and Vision 2030. By protecting our children, ending harmful practices, promoting health and strengthening community systems, we are laying the foundation for a prosperous, empowered, and healthy population that will drive Zimbabwe towards becoming an upper middle income society. We're grateful to our Young People's Network on Health and Well-Being for initiating this program, and the National AIDS Council and UNFPA Zimbabwe for supporting it. Today, every territory proudly displays the Not in Our Village banner, a clear declaration of our commitment to ending child marriages and adolescent pregnancies. Our communities are now informed, and not only they, but we as traditional leaders, from villagers, headmen, chiefs, have also been more aware, more engaged, and more united in protecting our young people. But chiefs have gone further. Across the country, traditional leaders are addressing drug and substance abuse. I think you heard it from the chief who was one of the panelists. With the Zimbabwe Public Police, strengthening nutrition and food security, tackling misuse of state land, promoting menstrual hygiene, improving children's immunizations, and encouraging hospital deliveries to reduce maternal and infant deaths. In every community meeting, Not in My Village is now central, showing our dedication to building safe and healthy communities. As we implement this program, we have identified issues that need urgent attention. Some regions, especially maternal in the south, have many child-headed families who need protection. In several territories, water sources and schools are too far, exposing children, especially girls, to exploitation, school dropout, and health risks. We appeal to all partners to integrate water development, closer schools and safe infrastructure into our support, in their support for this campaign. As chiefs, we reaffirm our commitment. We will use our resources. We have our fuel, we have our vehicles. Normally we don't ask for fuel from the people. We sacrifice our fuel to use our vehicles, just moving from one point to another point within our communities. And our influence to push this program forward. We protect every child, strengthen our cultural systems, and ensure that no harmful practices hides behind the name of culture. Our message is clear. In our village, our children must be safe. Our daughters must not be brides. Our sons must not be lost to drugs. Every young person must thrive. Let this dialogue strengthen our unity of purpose. This well-being of our young people is the well-being of our nation. By the Not in My Village campaign, continue to shine as a beacon of hope, accountability, and cultural pride. I thank you.
izandla asixayizeleni izandla umntungwa khumalo ukhuya ezandleni bakithi unkululo kanyiuzwa uguest of honor ubambe into eziningi ezibalulekileyo akala khona lichileyo. At the end of the day sizwathi ukushwira lezokuthi vechidiki vakure vane utano hwakanaka, vechidiki vakurewo vasevewo 50 years is not a joke. I was just trying to calculate it. Yeah, so at this moment in time, allow me to welcome Daddy So Achatitra vote of thanks Utenda Mambo Vedu. As you see the program Taita Magesti Edu Azobata official opening. So we are going to close. We are not closing per se, but we want to make sure Magesti Edu Azobata is young people to start as you say Takufana and it. Tabuita say thanks. Let's give a round of applause to Daddy So.
So I was saying that my job is very simple. They asked me to come So firstly, I would love to acknowledge and also may you please allow me to write on the protocol that has already been observed. So firstly, I would like to thank our traditional leaders who took the time to come here and to connect with our young people. I'd also like to thank our ministries, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Local Government, our partners, the Zimbabwe National Family Planning Council. I'd also like to extend gratitude to National AIDS Council for the continued support and coordination. I'd love to also acknowledge and appreciate the United Nations Population Fund for helping us to convene this important initiative. I'd also love to thank the team from the Young People's Network on Health and Wellbeing for the tireless work in making sure that we put this together. And then lastly, I would love to acknowledge our young people for also being key partners in this initiative. And before I sit down, allow me to also then acknowledge our guest of honor, Chief Mchane Khumalo, Siyabonga, Khumalo, Embulazi, Khumalo, Embulazi, Esigode, Kokasa, Mkhatshwa, Tingadinwa la kusasa.
How? Cameraman, where are you? No, let's wait. Cameraman, that was a. Where are the cameras? Cameraman, you know? This is a lifetime. A picture with the. Yes, we can. Exactly. So, we like to say, Manja Mdenga, Maoko Mdenga, Isanja Pesu, Pesu to Pesulist, Pesu to Pesulist, Maoko Mdenga, tinotenda zvikuru ngatiomberei madzimambo edu. Aiwa, zvaitwa. Tinotenda kuuya, all the way kubva kuzasi uko kumaNicaland. Kuzasi kwabushu takakusvika kwamambobushu. Takafara. Takasvika kwamambo Chinamora, takafara. And today they are in Bulawayo. We really need to appreciate. They are busy people. Matara pamatosiya vavharwa handiti. But ndazotongeswa mayuthi chitirirai vakurumongonyarara zve mayuthi ndatongeswa. Kwai kufada yakuita sei? Asi mazwi here ekuda kuti vanhu vaite musikanzwa here. Madzimambo, I assure you kuti safe space tikudzidzisana tichivakana kukura kuti tikwanisewo kutaura mukati mevanhu. Maona kuti vechidiki vanga vachitaura avancane vati vekhuluma nendaba yokuti National AIDS Council yaenza kuti kube nohlelo lolo lokuti sive empowered. Because dzimwe dzenguva ugona kumira pamberi pevanhu so unoedera but takadzidziswa neNational AIDS Council and tiri kuedza nepese kuti tibatsire vechidiki kuti nhau dzatiri kutaura dzemadrugs dzidzikire. Tiri kufamba tichidzidzisa asi kuzofana tichiisa zvemavhuso aiwa kuita zvakanaka sevechidiki. So at this point in time tichakumbira kuti varemekedzwa vedu Chief Guest of Honor, President of the Chiefs Council, vakagara kumatables kumberi nemarows aya tasiya madzimambo edu, maMPs edu nemastakeholders edu achazobatsirwa kubuda netimu iri kupinda. Handiti pari kungopera ava munobva manowana chikafu, handiti ukama igaswa unosadzikiswa nechikafu. Then magesti kana achinge apera, I'll come to you young people kuti tizonotorawo chikafu setatokudya ngeti. Remember, we are live from our pages, UNFPA Zimbabwe, National Health Council, Young People's Network, ngatiende tichifollowa tichikomenta. Handiti this program is brought to you by the Young People's Network on Health and Wellbeing, supported by UNFPA and National Health Council, and other partners who are also supporting. Let's give hands for Ikaya Arts.
Some
baba wethu ukuthi sithathe umfanekiso bese siyakudla kuyisicelo sethu njengabantu. So sicela ama-young people sithatha izitulo zethu lezibuyela ama-young people sizaba semuva. Sizacela ama-young people azasiphamisela izitulo sibuye sifakele phambili lapha. I think tisha garapha asine chidiki then toona kuti tingakwanire tese panapa handiti. Ngatiomberere maoko tapiwa mvumo yekutora picture with the chairperson of Health and Child Care Portfolio Committee, Deputy Director, Local Government, you know, with the CEO, National AIDS Council, then the President himself. So, sizakela izitulo lezibuye. Then young people sizakumemove after abadala sebemila ngithi. You can have chairs here. So, chiefs will be joining, members of parliament joining, then after that, as young people, will try to make sure that we fit in this stage. It's very small, but it will accommodate us. Oh, and it. So, teacher, we at this side. We have 2 or 3 lines here. Mashure as young people. Cameraman. We can have young people seated. So, okay. It's okay. Cameraman. You can put this. Okay, young people can sit down. Young people, some will be seated, some will be standing. Then let's allow chiefs and our stakeholders, board members, NAC, Matimabwe, Kunema MPs, we can be seated. Siyacela inkosi zethu zihlale phambili kuma-chairs ezitulweni then ama-partners singama.
I think young people just wait a bit. Yes.
All right. So what's going to happen now is we have the leadership of the young people. How big is our friend? Cameraman, sorry. How big is our friend here? Can you get everyone? No, we need to take this out. This side? Young people, help me. Please, we need to move. Tanaka, can you help us? Yes,
Let's go. Are you cool now?
Get my pictures so that we can enjoy the video.
So we are taking the pictures right away. Yeah. Let's go. Camera people, let's go. Can you guys say
Thank you.
Just one.
Not in my village, not in my church,
not in my church,
not in my constituency,
not in my constituency,
not in my home,
not in my home,
not in my religious gathering,
not in my religious gathering,
not at the ITF,
not at the ITF,
not in my school,
not in my school,
not in my university,
not in my university. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So young people, all young people come here. Young people come here. Oh, I'm not sure.
Yes. Ushers, let's usher our guests.
Or you can stay there.
Young people. Our guests, you are invited for lunch. We are going to be meeting as young people later. You can be joining us after lunch. Thank you. Round of applause. Let's come young people to take a little picture. Father, are you right?